Yes, I News, October edition 2020. I am Jameson Alphonse out of our national studio here in St. Lucia. Welcome and thanks for joining us. We start the broadcast right here in St. Lucia with news that schools across the island have shut down for a second time due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This time, the shutdown was due to confirmed cases of the virus at a local secondary school. This is the first reported case of the virus affecting anyone in the school population. One student and one female who work at the same educational institution both tested positive for the coronavirus. Scores of others have been tested and are awaiting results. In this broadcast, we would bring you two special reports from St. Lucia. Let's first turn our attention to this report from our local correspondent, 15-year-old Alan's Plant.
Reporting here with a parent from the Cashier's Comprehensive Secondary School, a student here, and we're just going to ask her a few questions. And the first one, how did you hear about reports of a possible spread of the virus at your child's school?
My son, someone called me, a parent, and then I tried contacting my son, and then he told me about what was happening.
Okay, and what were your reactions when you heard about a possible spread of coronavirus at your child's institution?
Well, panic sets in, worry sets in, because you wanted to know as a parent that the situation was being handled in the best way possible.
Okay. And how did you deal with the situation as a parent when your child arrived at home?
Well, I picked up my son from school. When he arrived home, the usual protocols are followed. We stayed in, we didn't go out until he was tested, and we continue to remain at home.
So, Ms. Alexander, can you share with us what have you taken from this situation?
Okay, what I have taken from this situation is that I would like to propose that a clinic, in the event something like that happens again, we have a better response in terms of the children are quarantined right there and then a makeshift clinic is set up, and those students are tested immediately, and then from the testing sent home into quarantine, awaiting the results. It would have allayed the fears of the parents and the principal, the students of the school.
Thank you very much, Ms. Alexander, right here, parent of a child at the Cashier's Comprehensive Secondary School, St. Lucia. Thank you. Reporting from St. Lucia, we have Dr. Fiona Philip Meyer, Chief Education Officer. So, Dr. Meyer, this is the second time that schools are shut down in St. Lucia. How will the Ministry of Education address the loss of learning that is likely to result?
Well, it's unfortunate it has closed down, but we appreciate the precautionary measure. For us, the distributed learning approach has been used from the time we returned in terms of face-to-face as well as our online platforms. And we are keenly aware that those have already been used and will continue to be used to ensure and to minimize the loss of instruction. So we are working with our various teams in that regard.
And if there is an increase of COVID cases amongst our students or the general public, what is the possible outcome of our face-to-face classes?
Well, we are guided by the Department of Health as they continue to support us. And so at the moment, we cannot necessarily speak to the loss of face-to-face, but as we manage with COVID for the next few years, the guidance taken from the Department of Health will speak to the ability to do face-to-face instruction alongside our online platforms.
And what is your appeal, Dr. Meyer, to parents or guardians of the affected school?
Well, we just want them to continue to be vigilant. We continue to say, follow the various protocols, ensure that the advice that we continuously get via all kinds of mediums from the Department of Health are adhered to, because we want to take personal responsibility that is going to augur well for our families and our homes. Each of us have a part to play.
Thank you very much, Dr. Meyer, and I am Alan Splant reporting for OECS CSI News.
Thank you for having me. All the best.
Thank you, Allens. We turn our attention now to students who have been impacted by these latest developments in various ways. What are their concerns and feelings about one of their peers having contracted the virus? How are they faring in light of the new shutdown? Jomil Pinder sat down with some of her peers. Here's what she found out.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jomil Pinder, and I'll be your reporter today.
My name is Rafael Muhora, and I'm a student from the Sir Irisman Secondary School.
I'm Abani Octave. I attend Cassius Comprehensive. I'm in Form 3, and I'm happy to be here too.
We basically are discussing today about the current situation with the virus. We know that a 14-year-old student was the first case in a school, and he was infected with the virus. And we know that because of that, the Ministry of Education had to close down all schools. So we would like to get your opinion on the current situation right now, and just to share with everybody. Abani, how do you feel?
Well, I'm a little scared, to be honest. I'm quarantined at my home. I got tested recently. I'm just waiting on the result. I'm happy that he's been cared for. All I want for everybody is to be safe.
And Raphael, how about you? How do you feel about the current situation?
I think as a Form 5, I feel very exhausted, very frustrated. The virus has taken a lot of opportunities from me. It has put my family and I under financial pressure.
So, how do you feel about the cases in the schools? What do you think about it?
I didn't like how they handled it. It was like everything was just confusing, and then they had fake news coming out. It was just very difficult to be going through all of that.
All right. Was it something that you expected?
Well, I didn't expect it to be him. Because we're actually friends, so I didn't expect it to be him. I thought it was somebody else, like somebody I didn't know. But when I heard it was him, it just hit different, because he was one of my friends, and I didn't expect him to be going through that. Everybody taking it as a joke. They're making memes about it, especially from my school. They were just making endless memes about it, and then they have the boy picture spreading everywhere. Like, he's not even reacting like how they are reacting, and it's just sad, because for Lucians nowadays, everything is a joke for them.
And how have you been affected educationally?
We're not getting to finish our SBAs and labs. CXC doesn't look like they are pushing the deadline for CXC or anything of the sort. So we have qualifying exam, labs, SBAs, all of these things just piling on and on and on us. And I must say it's very, very difficult. I know some of my friends, they just give up totally. They say, you know what, it's too much. I'll repeat or I'll just fail. Some students, it's taking a really toll on their mental and psychological state. They don't want to get recommended. They don't feel motivated to get recommended and these kind of things.
To be honest, I haven't really picked up a book. Yesterday I started to write down some notes, but my mind is not just there to meditate on doing any schoolwork, because I'm scared for when my test results come back, and now if it's positive. But since I've been quarantined, I've been reading a little bit, but I'm just not really focused on doing work right now.
Okay, thank you very much. And this is Jomil Pinder reporting for the OECS CSI News.
Thank you, Jamil. Certainly tough times all around. Across the region, selected schools have resorted to a shift system to accommodate spacing protocols for students due to large populations. We tune in to this report from Antigua to have a shared experience from the Clare Hall Primary School. This report is from Imari John.
Schools in Antigua and Barbuda reopened their doors to students and teachers for the new academic year on September the 7th, 2020, after being closed for 6 months due to the COVID pandemic. Within this new normal, it was clear that things would not be the same. One of the major challenges facing several schools was accommodating all the students while adhering to the physical distancing guidelines of 3 to 6 feet. Some schools were forced into a shift or alternate day system. In this report, we hear how it is all working for the Clay Hall Secondary School.
At the Clay Hall Secondary School, we have a population at this point of 726 students, 87 teachers. So it was essential for us to devise a plan that would allow for adequate social distancing while trying to maximize the available days in our 6-day calendar. So as a result of that, we determined that at this point our capacity would have to be no more than 435, 440. So therefore we determined that we would split our school, the lower forms, into 2 groups. So on one day you will have our 1st and 3rd formers coming together along with our 5th formers, and on the other day you'll have the 2nd and 4th coming along with our 5th formers. So you notice our 5th formers are here every day, but we've determined to split the other lower groups to accommodate the 435 maximum number. So the students will come every other day. So one day you're here and you are face to face. The following day you'll be at home where you'll be engaging with the Google Classroom platform. And so that is how we've been able to pretty much ensure that the blended approach works for us, given our population. You know, it has been a challenge. Let me say it has been a challenge. Very often we speak about technology as being our savior, but technology can only be effective when everyone has equitable access to that technology. And so you'll find that while our teachers are doing pretty good at the face-to-face, a number of our students do not have access to a device that they can actually connect to the internet, and also many of them do not have internet service, so that presents a challenge in and of itself. It is true that many of the students were also issued ebook devices. At this point, unfortunately, some of them are inoperable, and so that makes it a challenge. However, for the child who does not have internet service at home, there is internet service available at school, so they are able to bring their devices with them, download the content that is stored there, and interact with that content to have it presented to teachers on the following day when they're here. So overall, those who are actively participating because of the availability of internet and devices, they're doing pretty well.
The 5th formers believe, even with the new arrangement, they will be able to prepare well for the CSEC exams.
I would say yes, we will be able to finish the curriculum before CSEC exams in April or May, because we have a better understanding now. We are face-to-face with the teachers.
Despite the challenges, students and teachers in Antigua and Barbuda are bracing for an interesting and exciting school year. I am Marijan reporting for OECS Yes I News.
Thank you, Imari. Around the world, and certainly here in the OECS region, governments have been talking about living with COVID-19. In the student world, the same notion is guiding the approach to activities important to student life in spite of the constraints imposed on the education system. In Montserrat, students were treated to a career fair that is expected to prepare them for life well beyond COVID-19. We caught up with 2 participants from Montserrat. Take a look.
I am the Grade 6 assistant from the local primary school, Miss Shania Weeks. Today with me, I have 2 special guests, Mr. Venice Scotland and Mr. Kejwan Semple, both pupils at the school. Recently, we celebrated Career Day. Tell me, what do you think Career Day is all about?
I believe Career Day is a day set aside for pupils to dress up as their desired future career.
I too agree with my peer. Career Day also encourages pupils to start to plan for the future. For instance, if a pupil wants to be a doctor, he or she most likely has to research for that subject needed in that career path.
Stevena, you were dressed as a pilot. Why?
I enjoy going on adventures, traveling, and seeing new places.
Kejwan, how about you? You were dressed as a mechanic. Can you tell our listening public why?
I would like to be a mechanic because I enjoyed fixing my broken toys as a little boy and solving the problem.
Pilots and mechanics will always be needed in our growing society. Thank you, Mr. Venice Scotland and Mr. Kejwan Semple, for sharing your career goals with me. Well, folks, that's all for now. Thank you for joining. This is Shania Weeks, Grade 6 assistant from the Lookup Primary School.
Virtual learning is a real challenge for technical education institutions. Practical activities are not easy to teach and monitor through a camera. What does this mean for one institution in the British Virgin Islands? We hear in this report from Angelia Cupid.
Good morning, everyone. Here I am reporting to you live from the beautiful British Virgin Islands. At the Virgin Islands School of Technical Studies for OECS, yes, I knew. Walking along with me is the assistant principal, Mr. Willis Potter. Good morning, Mr. Potter.
Good morning.
My first question for you, how important was it for you to have the Virgin Islands School of Technical Studies reopened?
It was very important. The Virgin Islands School of Technical Study is the premier technical institution in the Virgin Islands. We have a high concentration on hands-on learning, and that is very difficult to assimilate on an online platform.
Okay, my other question, what preparations were needed to ensure the safety of the students?
The preparations were very important as well. We had to follow the Ministry of Health mandate to have hand washing stations, sanitation stations, and signage so that we know what rules we are following on a day-to-day basis.
Are all the students there at school today?
Yes, we are fully face-to-face, 100%.
Now, let us hear from some of the returning students. How does it feel to be back at school again?
It's good to be back because I miss my friends, I miss my teachers, and I just miss school.
Well, it feels good to be back at school because online school wasn't really working for me. Seeing teachers behind the screen wasn't really working out either. So I love that school is open back, that people come back to school.
How does it feel to be back at school again?
It feels great to be back at school because the practical classes we do, when we do them online, we don't get enough practice, and the theory, it be confusing all the time. So, it's great to be back at school.
Well, you heard it here, guys, from the Virgin Islands School of Technical Studies for OECS. Yes, I knew.
Schools in St. Kitts and Nevis are battling the COVID-19 pandemic, while the Ministry of Education undertakes major work to develop new curriculum. We turn our attention to our team of correspondents in Nevis to find out what is happening on the ground.
I am Ajerne Hodge, student of the Charleston Primary School on Nevis, reporting for the OECS Yes I News in St. Kitts and Nevis. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused many disruptions to life as we know it. The Ministry of Education on St. Kitts and Nevis has been working with health officials to ensure that schools have put measures in place to protect staff and students. Education officials have worked to ensure that quality teaching and learning continues in the face of the pandemic. In this report, we will hear more on these changes and learn how students have been coping during the pandemic.
Thank you, Ajani. I am Rondra Daniel reporting for the OECS Yes I News. Today I am here with Ms. Derricka Williams, a student of the Gingerland Secondary School. Has it been difficult to cope with the new protocols and changes?
Yes, it was hard at first to roll with the protocol, the COVID-19 protocols, because wearing the mask, we are not accustomed to it because we were not born with it. But at time, I started to get accustomed. From my experience, sometimes I might reach somewhere with my family and I forget the mask. We have to turn back. And sometimes the mask might give me headaches, but after a while I got accustomed to it. Sometimes when I wear my mask, I don't even remember I have it on. Even if I'm alone and walking home, I don't even remember, but I got accustomed to it, and I see students and other older persons are getting accustomed. With the hand sanitizing, I was accustomed to have hand sanitizers in my school bag because to keep our germs and bacteria even before COVID-19 came in. So I think the protocols are a good start for us. So if the COVID-19 reaches to Nevis, we already know what to do to protect ourselves.
Thank you, Derricka. Now back to you, Ajerne.
Thank you, Rondre. I am delighted to be joined by Principal Education Officer at the Department of Education on Nevis. In addition to the COVID-19 changes, St. Kitts and Nevis has been working to enhance the curriculum. Can you provide an update?
Yes, in January 2019, we started the process of enhancing the curriculum. And what this process looks like is that we're trying to make it a curriculum that looks like what we want for St. Kitts and Nevis. And in the process, we have spoken to children, we've spoken to teachers, parents, community members, getting an idea of what they wanted for the ideal student and the ideal citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. After that, we went about writing the new curriculum. So we had teachers and education officials and some community members as well as part of the writing teams. And we are at the place now where we have the draft curriculum for some of the grades ready. And so this school year, the students in grades 4 and 6 will be exposed to the draft curriculum in the new 5 core areas. In the past, we had 4 core areas, and now we have 5. So we have mathematics, language arts, social studies and science, like you know, and we've added health and wellness. Because the community felt that our students needed to know what it meant to be a healthy citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. The difference between the old curriculum and the new curriculum, the major difference, is that the new curriculum is student-centered. It's all about you as students. The activities are interactive and fun so that you can learn. And our goal is for every student to be able to succeed. No matter their learning style, no matter their interest, that all students will be able to succeed. And so this curriculum document is supposed to do just that, help us to help our students to start where they are and to work towards success as an individual. Our testing will look a little bit different. We might not just have just one test at the end of the term, but we'll have lots of different activities during the term, projects and different activities that we will use to also assess the student as well. We look forward to piloting the other grades in the upcoming years, but this year we've started with grades 4 and 6, and we know it will be a new experience for both students, the students and the teachers, but we also know that it will be a wonderful one for all of you.
Thank you for taking the time to highlight some of the changes that the Ministry of Education has implemented.
There are many changes this school year, but we are happy to be in school and super excited about learning. I am Ajerne Hodge, reporting for OECS CSI News, St. Kitts and Nevis.
Thank you, team. We have come to the end of our broadcast, October edition 2020. Thanks to all our viewers from the region and around the world tuning in. Our next broadcast represents a special treat as our French-speaking OECS associate member states join the OECS Yes I News. Tune in to OECS TV on YouTube for the next broadcast on November 26, 2020. Goodbye, everyone.